Tell me what they're actually lacking. They're not young. They're not old.
And they get West Coast twice at home.
And they play...
13.
Yeah.
13 home games. But get West Coast twice.
Yeah. So...
You'd like that for a while, wouldn't you? Hello, everyone. Welcome to Eddie and Jimmy on this Wednesday as we take your emails and go through a few of them. Welcome, mate. Thanks to our friends at Tab. Jimmy?
Good to see you, Ed. Loved having our listeners back on board, and they're already queued up with some questions to fire away.
Okay, let me fire the first one at you. Will the clubs have responsibility for the drugs problem in 2026?
I feel like this is a half volley to you, Ed.
Well, how long have you got? Which teams are doing the least worst in keeping their players away from the drug space? Well, Paul, the clubs aren't allowed to know, so they wouldn't know.
If you had to make one change, so they call you in, the Players Association, the AFL, and they go, Ed, you get one ball here to keeping the cricket going.
Yep.
What are you sending?
So first of all, I do believe in the rehabilitation of players and also the medical side of things. However, it's not working. It's now become counterintuitive. So I would have regular testing. I would probably be a bit easier on marijuana because it's legal in so many places, and treat it as alcohol. And that means if you get caught drug driving or drink driving, you get a massive fine and suspension. The other drugs, the narcotic drugs, are performance enhancing, whether you train with them during the week and get through it all. So I would have a policy where you don't get suspended, you get time off for rehabilitation, because you're not allowed to play football if you're on drugs. So you would get probably 4 weeks to rehabilitation. If you're not rehabilitated after 4, you stay it till you are, and then I'd have a second one and a third one, and that would be the end of it. And there'd be a sizable fine that goes along with it, because you have to be able to tell your friends and your nefarious people around you that, no, I'm getting tested often, it is a major fine, and there are consequences for my action. Clubs are sick of it, supporters are sick of it, players not being able to turn up to play, all the euphemisms used around it. We've got to stop telling lies. When drugs come in, the truth goes out. So we've got to stop aiding and abetting that, and it's actually better for the players. It'll be better for them, and long term, I'm just waiting for a player to come in and say, I tested positive 15 times, self-reported, you maybe let me play, and now I've got a major drug issue, I've got no money, I've lost my family, and it's your fault, and I want to sue you.
Can you forecast, well, you'd be a genius, I'll be asking you for a lot of numbers, but can you forecast the drugs issue being today's concussion issue? So
That's exactly what I just said. It'll make concussion and anything else that we've had look like sideshow time. And it doesn't work. Early on, okay, I could have been convinced that it was there. I thought the clubs always should know what's going on. You're with them every day of the week. And, I look at the internationals from soccer through to, and I've done the work on this, the NFL, Major League Baseball, NHL, college football, obviously I've gone through it, what's going on over there. And they still look after the player, but if 1 in 9 people are getting caught on the roads and they don't test for cocaine, right? And 1 in 3 people, I think, who were injured in road accidents or killed were drug related. Right? We know it's everywhere, so take the stigma out of it and let's actually attack the root issue. The root issue is you can't play football and take drugs. Full stop.
It's a pretty strong start there. Hopefully,
we're getting paid $1 million. That should be enough.
Yep.
And if you don't want to, that's fine. Next. Peter says, following up on a discussion you had last year about contracted players being traded without consent, why is it okay for 7 and 8-year-old kids to get drafted anywhere in the country on a 2 to 3 year contract as the lower earners in the game, but after they get a contract and they actually mature and have some savings, it's too much of a hardship to relocate?
So I'm just trying to...
I think the point being there is that we relocate the kids who have no money. If you're a professional footballer and you're getting paid big money, bad luck if you have to move somewhere else. That's the name of the game, which is very much the American style of playing it. I think one of the things we haven't done yet, Jim, and I'll put this to you, is just because you get paid doesn't make you professional. So if you're a professional footballer, you go wherever you go. If you want to have free market and free trade, it's got to work both ways.
Yep. But part of this, like 17 and 18-year-olds who nominate the draft, it's an equalisation measure. So, like, if you got people sitting out of the draft because I don't want to go to West Coast and they're a Victorian
No, I don't
kid.
think that's what you're saying. I think
No,
it's
but
the other end.
No, but that's a bit of answering. We're in that situation where the 17 and 18-year-olds get told where to go, and then once you're in the system with more money, well, it's almost like you gain more rights. I understand what Peter's saying, but it's very difficult to unpick where we're at with the games with players who they have the final say, which makes it incredibly difficult for clubs.
Yeah. All right. I think let's have a look at what's happened though. Melbourne wanted to off Clayton Oliver last year.
Yep.
Had to hold him for another year, and then he goes. That could have all been done in real time, couldn't it?
Yep.
Anyway, Dylan, while the AFL are making changes, I've got one minor change for the future AFL season. The minor premiership, which I hate that term, the minor premiership. Give it a name.
Well, he's got one. Changed the name to season champion.
Well, season champion, but I'd put somebody's name on it. It used to be the McClellan Trophy.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So why don't we...
Call it the McClellan Trophy.
Well, no, that's now...
The joint with the
being
AFL.
joined in with the women's
the
and the men's and all that sort of stuff. I think the team that finishes on top of the ladder should get $1 million prize money, spread between the club and the players, and maybe even a charity. Make it $2 million for that matter. There's enough money around the place.
Yep.
And I would call it the Kevin Bartlett Trophy or something, or Scott Pendlebury is about to become the whatever. Come up with something that recognises somebody great in the game.
We'll get our first one away. We're in vigorous agreement. I've long promulgated the fact that there's no real reward finishing as the best team over 23, 24 weeks.
But you make a presentation. You play the game. So let's say the Cats win it. You go down there, you make a presentation, you get up, you hold it up. Not do the Grant Thomas when you win the Wizard Cup and you're allowed to smile. Enjoy it. You've just won the season. And this is what I like about college football. You win the championship, right, which is the whatever this was going to be called.
Yep. And
you get a ring. And then you play in the preliminary final, which is the Cotton Bowl, or the Rose Bowl, which is the the quarter final. You get a ring for that, and then you get to the grand final, then you get the big one.
Yep.
But there's something there along the way for the hard work that goes with it. Okay, so we like that. Thank you, Dylan.
I'll ask you about Alistair. Thoughts? When do members actually get rewarded? Missed out in the ballot this year, along with thousands of other Lions members. Missing out to fellow Lions fans I can cop, but losing spots to contractual obligations with the AFL and MCC. Just so people who don't care about the result can go, is a joke. I guess that's thanks to we get for turning up when we're getting pumped by 100 points every week. Regardless, go Lions.
Okay, two parts to this, okay? I'm going to be mean.
Okay.
You buy a membership, you get a seat, okay? And you support your club, but you get a seat. You go down to Hoots, you buy a ticket, you get a seat, watch the movie. So that's part of what it is. There are opportunities there to buy a level of ticket that you need to get to. I do agree, though, in Alistair here, what I would love to see with the AFL is actually have a ticketing system that allows more tickets available. Now, if that means that the price is a higher price, then so be it. But at least you get the opportunity to get it. Okay. Now, if you decide I don't want to spend $500 or $1,000 for a seat, I'll watch it on TV, then you can make that decision yourself. You can spirit away the money if you want to do that, knowing that your team's going well and there are a chance to get to the finals. So I agree. The problem is, though, there is always going to be 200,000 people wanting to get in, and sadly, the grand final makes that much money to pay for everything else. That's where it's at. And the sponsors, they're just, they may not be every week, but they actually pay every week. Yeah. So that's a hard and fast business of sport reply. My heart says, though, yes, we want to be able to give people the opportunity, and I think there should be more opportunity to do so.
That's why the prelims feel more like the fans' week.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And grand final, it's corporate, but as you said, they're
paying.
They're trying to get their dollars back.
Well, they're paying. Yeah, their money's pretty good. So I get you, Alistair, and having been one of those people standing in the outer and all the rest of it, and You know, I'm with you. I still buy my tickets, so I'm not one of those ones on the never never. I'm a life member of Collingwood in the AFL, but I buy my tickets and my reserve tickets and everything else because I see that as a donation to the club. All right. What do you think about that? It's a tough one.
Yeah, look, if you could invite every fan supporter along the way, you'd do it in a heartbeat.
You know, the Americans do, I think, really well, controversially. The Americans sting you big time on the ticket coming in, and then after that, everything's gravy. We kept the ticket prices low so people can come in and then charge you $50 for a pie or whatever it is, or whatever, or you get to the finals and suddenly you can't get out a ticket. I don't know about you, but I was one of those kids who used to line up on a Friday at the headmaster's office to see if there's any free tickets, and you get them and you go to the footy. Didn't matter which game it was. You know, we're out in Broadmeadows. Just going to the footy was unbelievable. And I love the fact that we could come here to the MCG and get in for the cheapest price and watch it. That was always my philosophy at Collingwood when I was president, was that to give as many people as many chances. That's why we came here, didn't go to Marvel, even though the money was better. And then you get the chance. And, you know, if at the end of the day the preliminary final is your biggest day, then that's part of the... It's a bit unfair, but it's part of the learning experience of life.
Yep.
Is that tough?
Yeah, it is tough.
But it's real, I suppose. I think the problem is, again, we spend too much time promising people and then disappointing them. Just tell them as it is. And if I know that I can get a grand final ticket for $1,000 and it really means something to me, then I'll put $10 a week away.
Yep. Go your lines, Alistair.
$20 a week.
Yeah. It'd be more than 10, yeah.
Yeah, 20. Anyway, whatever it is. But I think that's the opportunity. I think it's the lack of opportunity to get the ticket that's the hard part. Yeah. All right. We want to hear from you, Eddie and Jimmy at 9.com.au. Right. Jimmy, Bordertown 55 on YouTube commented. As a Freo supporter, I'm intrigued why a lot of so-called footy experts are seeing the Dockers as a big chance to win this year's premiership. Considering we lost the Gold Coast in a home ground elimination final, why this enthusiasm?
So
Mason Cox.
I'm going to claim I'm a so-called expert. I don't have Freo winning the premiership, but I have them finishing on top of the ladder at the end of the regular season.
Wow. That gives you a good start.
It does. I still think the Lions are my tip. The Lions haven't finished top and can still win it, which they've done many a times in their history. The reason why I am so bullish, Bordertown 55 on YouTube, is I just look at what you got and the experience. Even losing a home final, it's still another finals experience. They play for the coach. You can hear every time their coach gets sort of sledged or bagged in the media, first thing under the microphone, the players back the coach. So that's a big thing. You have a look at the talent. Murphy Reid won the Rising Star as a half forward, which is hard to do. And looking at him early, he looks very nice in their midfield. Yeah. Judd McVie is a great acquisition down back, which means Jordan Clark, who's all-Australian, can play up higher in the ground. Their defensive back, I'm going to call it the 8 blokes who play in the back line, because a couple on the bench. They're very good. They're very experienced. Pearce looks like his body's finally holding up, so we get to see his talent. You got Voss, Tracy, the big kahuna, and Amos. You got 3 forwards to kick to. You got a guy, Luke Jackson, who they still are experimenting where he can destroy the opposition. They need the big fella Darcy to stay fit, because then that allows Jackson to do more things.
And you got Cox.
You got Mason Cox,
and Sarong and Brayshaw.
Sarong and Brayshaw, and the other one who's one of the most vital for Freo. Just get Hayden Young's hamstrings right.
Yeah.
Because he's a game breaker. So tell me what they're actually lacking. They're not young. They're not old.
And they get West Coast twice at home.
And they play
13.
Yeah.
13 home games, but get West Coast twice.
Yep. So
you'd like that for a while, wouldn't
you? I'd love them just to see at different times. Yeah, I'm critical of Freo because maybe I believe in them, but that's why, because you can set when.
So they get West Coast and North Melbourne twice at home because North sell their games over there.
Yeah.
Oh, there's 4 in the bank and percentage,
and they're a good side.
Yikes! All right.
So hopefully, Bordertown 55. I don't have them winning the premiership.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be too worried about it. I just think they ran out of steam in the elimination final last year as well.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But I think they're a very good side.
Simon says, clubs seem to have only 2 commodities to bargain with, draft picks and players. I think there might be a third, premiership points. Let's use Hawthorn's failed attempt at Zach Merritt last year. 2025 first rounder, 2026 first rounder, 2026 4 premiership points, 2027 4 premiership points.
Simon, that's one of the more creative ideas I've heard.
He says, this is, of course, tongue-in-cheek, but worth a shot.
So, when you play them, you just automatically give them the win. Where are you getting the points from? But you can't start negative because that implies that you've had an additional game.
Yeah. No, I think it's complete nonsense. I don't know why I'm thinking about it. It's tongue-in-cheek, and I take it as such, and why not?
I tried to be nicer by saying it was very creative.
But what he's saying, though, there is a bit more. There's the salary cap dumps that are involved in it these days.
Yeah, well, that's what they do. That's how they negotiate the draft picks.
Exactly. Anyway, Sean, Melbourne clubs like Essendon, Carlton, North Melbourne and St Kilda struggling to compete in finals and seem a long way from a premiership. What can be done to support these clubs that are on and off the field? Well, I'll give you the tip right now. Nothing for Essendon and Carlton.
Yeah.
But what do you mean? St Kilda did what they finally had to do. They had to go, went and got some players.
And they've got a good crop of young blokes. They've actually done well in the draft in the last couple of drafts.
Here's what they did. They, instead of sitting there going, oh me, oh my, and getting their 20 million off the AFL and saying, oh, they gave us money to stay alive, we won't do anything else, we'll be good boys. They got a few people in like Gubby Allen and Sauces down there and Paul Bassett, and they've got a coach who actually isn't just down there for the money. He wants to have a go, and they're having a go.
Yeah.
Finally. That's what they did. Okay? And Essendon and Carlton are big enough and ugly enough to look after themselves.
Well, Carlton played finals a couple of years ago.
That's all right. Yeah, no, they're all right. Nothing is the answer there, Sean. The only thing we can do is to make sure that I've been saying this since 2001, so it's nothing new, that the benefits that northern sides are getting are fair. That's all. Happy to have them, but everyone's got to be fair.
Mikey, Eddie, the NFL in Melbourne is a ridiculous idea. 30-hour round trip, stadium is the wrong shape, will be played at 11 a.m. on a workday. Melbourne is not an NFL city. Just admit this is a mistake.
Mikey, you're a goose. Are you kidding? Are you kidding?
Mikey's not a fan, Ed.
Mate, it's Mikey, this is also a tourism play, buddy, right? For years, we're trying to explain to Americans that we're not too far away. Everyone says it's on their bucket list, but I just can't go there, right? They're going to realise that you can come here. And it is going to be an NFL team. You know that has had the biggest uptake in America of interest to come of any of their international games. We could sell this out 3 times, right? And we will, because we'll have 200,000 outside the ground. And yeah, it is going to be 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock in the morning. And that's what time. What time is the Boxing Day test start?
10.
First race on Cup Day is?
Around the 10 o'clock mark.
Okay, so 10 o'clock. I don't know. What time do you start work normally? Normally start, let's call it 7:30, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. People are up, okay? And it's going to be massive, and it's going to go back into America.
For a one-off event, you make the effort.
Oh, mate, don't worry. Mikey, no ticket for you. No problem. You can watch it on TV. No,
He looked down the barrel at you then, Mikey.
It is, yeah. Further details on Mikey, have we? No, it's going to be an absolute ripper.
Yeah, it'll be
and
great.
The fact we've got San Francisco to play LA is just enormous. Now, think about the cross-pollinisation. If I take you a little bit inside the thinking on this, they're going to have the World Cup in LA or on the West Coast, or they're going to all around the place, but largely on the West Coast. You've got the 2 biggest show business and sports entertainment investments out of LA and AI and all the Silicon Valley out of San Francisco. Right there, nearest neighbour to us, basically, straight in. Flights go in every day to LA and to San Francisco direct from Melbourne and into Dallas, by the way. All those things are all happening, and we're a safe haven for Americans to come to Australia. Not many countries around the world. They've got turbo dollars. We want them coming. They like the place. So this is pretty big, and it puts us on the world stage. It means that Melbourne is seen as big as London and the Sao Paulo and these major cities, Berlin, where they actually have the NFL, and this is going to get bigger rather than smaller, and we're right in there, prime position. Fantastic. And by the way, when you and I sat up here when they marked the field out with little flags last year, it works.
It works.
One thing, can I digress a bit? Tell me what you think of this idea. So one of the issues we're going to have is the end zone is going to be painted. and we're going to play finals games 2 days later. So my understanding is they're going to redo the turf, so they've got it under control. On the wide wings, I think we've got an opportunity to do something quite special there and put the cheerleaders and everything on that side, because we're probably going to lose maybe 1 or 2 rows because they all stand on the ground, on the sidelines there. So we can actually do some big Australian flag, big American flag, LA or California for both.
Because a lot of the rectangle or the NFL stadiums, the first row, it's like the stadium in Perth. It's actually raised because they've factored in all the teams and all their crew stand on the sideline. So if you're sitting row 1 or 2, you're just looking at backs.
Yeah.
You don't actually see anything. So I'm with you. You got to light up the place, don't you?
But to the point, I mean, don't look at it as we're just going to drop a gridiron in. Yeah, have a look at it and go, right, okay, we've got a fair bit of real estate we can play with there.
Find solutions.
That's it. We're problem solvers. It's going to be massive.
It'll be big.
I mean, again, I'll declare an interest. I'm on the organising committee, and it is just going to be fantastic.
Huge. It'll be so big.
It is. That's it, mate. Come back tomorrow. We'll do some footy tips.
Let's do that.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks to Tab. Good on you to Gil and all the team at Tab. Eddie and Jimmy at 9.com.au. They were great questions. We really appreciate it. To all our emailers, and follow us on Instagram. Just search Eddie and Jimmy. Good on you, guys. See you tomorrow for the tips.